We are a generation that is full of people feeling lost, overwhelmed, depressed, and have no idea what they're doing, where they're going, or how to take back control of their lives. And when we are like that, when we are lost, overwhelmed, confused, anxious, how will we show up at work? How will we show up where we are demanded of professionally to deliver, to excel, to be our best selves? We cannot, right? If we are not our best selves within, how will we be our best selves outside? You can be if you choose to be, because the problem is not in what they're doing, the problem is in what they are not doing. Because somewhere deep down we know that this is not what you're meant for. We know that we are meant for greater things. We know that we have the potential to be our best selves. But the narratives and the beliefs and the ideas that are inside our heads, well, the limit is they don't let us turn that energy in us into action. And because that action is not there, then everything else that we feel, from doubt to confusion, all of that starts popping up in the form of anxiety, overwhelm. And then we say, oh, we're the anxious generation. We have a lot of pressure. We have no idea what to figure out. We are dealing with a lot of change. See, there's so much happening in the world. How can I ever be calm? Because the reason we feel anxious is not because so much is happening in the world, but because we are aware of all of it. And there was a quote I read some time ago, and it stuck with me like really deeply. And it said, somewhere on some lonely corner of the planet, there's a fool sitting without his phone, not knowing that he should be worried. Just imagine that. The reason we are feeling this anxiety, we are feeling this confusion, we are feeling this constant state of overwhelm about the world is because we are hyper-connected. We're becoming aware of every single thing that's happening in the world. You're full of energy, you're full of hyperactivity, you're ready to take on the world and bring it down. The very next moment, you're on the lowest low. You have no idea what's happening. The going gets tough. And that anxiety, that fear, that doubt, that confusion, that overwhelm, that stress, all of it comes together and you become lost. You have no idea what to do. And then you are stuck there. And that is the cycle a lot of people are stuck in today. They're hyper-connected. Every moment anything happens in the world is fed to them. The people at these big tech companies and the people in the media know that you have a very short attention span. And the key to hacking attention spans is not to always give the facts. It's to give something that's most controversial, something that's most engaging, something that gets the most clicks. And in this race for your attention, what you're losing is not just your time, but your ability to think for yourself and your ability to make the right decisions. And that is the scary part. The truth is that our brains are not built for this much stimulation, for this much information, and for this overload that we are experiencing every single day. Imagine that you're a teacher, you're walking into the classroom, all your students are in front of you, and then you're saying, what should I teach today? And then before you can even think what you should teach, you reach out for your phone because that's easier. Because there, you'll get something new to worry about. You'll find a new idea. You'll find a new tweet. You'll get something that hits your dopamine. And while that feels easy, and while the scenario I just told you sounds absurd, it is the reality of many people today. The reason we're not noticing it is because it's happening in private, in people's rooms at 12 a.m. in the night when they cannot sleep because they're hooked onto their phones and they cannot do anything in the morning because they're tired from not sleeping that night. And the reason they can't sleep that night is because they didn't get anything meaningful done in the morning. And all of this becomes a vicious cycle that only drains you, that only takes you down. And no, I'm not saying that social media is bad. I'm not saying that the internet is bad. I'm not saying that consuming content is bad. In fact, it's one of the best things you can do if you do it consciously. Maybe I'm talking to someone on this idea, and what they'll say is, oh, you know what? We don't do that. We're not addicted to social media. We don't scroll on Instagram. We don't scroll on Twitter. So ask, what do you do instead? They say, oh, I spend hours every day listening to podcasts. Now that's funny. That's really funny. And that's because it's no different than scrolling on social media. What you're doing on Reels is getting instant dopamine hits every 60 seconds. What you're doing by watching hours of podcasts and taking no action is procrastination under the guise of learning and work. You might satisfy your ego by saying, oh, see, I'm better than all those people who waste their time on Instagram. Well, actually, you're not. You're still doing the same thing. You're still wasting your time. Why? Because the knowledge isn't turning into action. Because the ideas you're taking in are not going out and being implemented in the way that you want, in a way that accelerates your life forward. The only thing that's going to lead you where you want to go is action. And the only way ambition turns into progress is through action. The plus sign, the multiplication, every single thing happens through action. Why? Because you can only leverage things when you're acting on it. When scrolling becomes boring, that is when you take actions that make your life amazing. That's a very important statement. And I want you to think about this. What is something in your life that brings you so much joy, that brings you so much energy, that when you're doing it, you wouldn't want to, waste time scrolling. When you're loving it, when you are constantly engaged in it, you'll forget about the world that exists outside. What is that something for you? Think about that. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who's with you. You are the one who chooses the world that they want to experience, and you can rebuild your attention, you can rebuild your focus, you can rebuild every single aspect that makes you the best. Make sure you embrace it. Make sure you take back control of the most important thing that matters: your thinking, your cognition, your ability to reason, and your ability to make things happen. The only way that happens is when you prioritize creation over just endless consumption.